How many four-letter words can I use on that?
Trying to switch to a double. Cheddar is driving. Nothing yet. Takedown. Michael Cheddar.
Oh, Nick, I'm a top guy, so I love top wrestling.
Hale trying to stick him. He does. Maximus Hale the fall.
So I think that wrestling is the greatest sport on earth.
What's going on, everybody? Another edition of On3 Wrestling. I'm your host, Nick Kosko, and there's a lot more news over the past week. Basically, this entire week, we saw some more transfer portal news, saw some coaching news. We'll dive into it all as we recap the week. First up, we have to talk about Cameron Amine, former Michigan three-time All-American. He's going to Oklahoma State. It was the latest addition for the Cowboys, who have already acquired Caleb Fish, Dean Hamady, and Wyatt Hendrickson. So David Taylor obviously adding to his team. His new staff is kind of reshaping the roster. They're going to use what they have, and they're going to add what they can, and it's a lot of high-quality wrestlers. We know how good Cameron Amine is. He's a three-time All-American for a reason. He fell short last year, and there were some questions, that he struggled last year. Is there going to be more of the good Cameron Amine coming up in his final year? He is using his COVID year of eligibility, so that's why he was able to utilize the 24-25 season upcoming as his additional year of eligibility. The other question about Cameron Amine to Oklahoma State is, where does he fit in? Now, naturally, because he is going to be probably a 165-pounder, this begs the question of, where does Caleb Fish go? Where does Dean Hamady go? And again, we know Wyatt Hendrickson is going to go heavyweight. He transferred there for a reason. So former Air Force heavyweight, two-time All-American, third place twice. He slides right into that last spot in the lineup. But when you have three 165-pounders, guys who have been at that weight class for the bulk of their careers, particularly Cameron Amine, where do they all go? Now, there are multiple options here where you say, okay, Cameron Amine is going to have to go right away. He only has 1 year left, so him transferring there, you got to imagine he goes right away. He goes 165. I can't see him going down or bumping up. He's just basically solidified right there in the middle of the lineup. Then you take Hamady and Fish into the equation, both 65-pounders last year. There's been speculation that Dean Hamady is going to move up to 174. And if he does, that's logical. You have Amine and Hamady back-to-back in those mid-weights right there. But then what do you do with Caleb Fish? Now, there's also been speculation that he might drop, okay? He could drop to 157, and then you have Fish, Amine, Hamady, and Dustin Plott. That's pretty good. That's pretty darn good if you're Oklahoma State. Now, the other part of the equation is Fish and Hamady actually have red shirts available, and I believe Hendrickson, if he wanted to, he could actually take a red. Not that I think Hendrickson will, because he only has 1 year of eligibility left, but he could take a red shirt because, again, he comes from Air Force, and he's coming in as a graduate student. He's eligible, I believe, to use his red shirt if he wanted to, but I don't anticipate that. I've seen discussion about that, of who has their red shirts available, but you have to really talk about the middle guys as to how you're going to configure the lineup. Hamady can redshirt, Fish can redshirt, and so you have a little more flexibility with the lineup right there. Now, logically speaking, you could see Fish drop, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Teague Travis was at 157 last year for Oklahoma State. So hypothetically, you could have Fish drop to 57 if they ask him if he wants to. Then you have Amine at 65. You throw Hamady at 74, Dustin Plott at 84. 4 guys in a row just like that. That's great. That is awesome for Oklahoma State. Now, again, Fish or Hamady could redshirt, but I would imagine that Cameron Amine is going to go right away at 65. So then David Taylor and company have to figure out what to do with Fish and Hamady as far as the middle weights are concerned. But Amine's a solid addition. There was talk that he was visiting Virginia Tech. That was a possibility for him after he left Michigan, but he had a great career with the Wolverines. His whole family basically went to Michigan as well. There are legends around Ann Arbor. He was 16-9 last year. He got to the blood round in Kansas City, so that was a couple months ago in March. But he has places of 7th and 4th place twice. If you go back to 22 and 23, finished 4th at 165. So 3-time All-American, really solid wrestler. He's going to be an All-American threat once again in 2025. 165, could he be a national title threat? Maybe with a new set of eyes on him, a new set of coaches. you never know. He at least can have the potential to get back to the podium. So I like the fit. And again, you're in a loaded room now where he's going to be working with two other former Big Ten guys that were at his weight in Dean Hamady and Caleb Fish in that room as well. So really like the move. Good for him. It's going to be awesome to see. A little weird it's going to be a little weird to see Amine not in the maize and blue. He's going to be in burnt orange. So that'll be obviously a different sight to behold next wrestling season. Now, speaking of orange, by the way, Rutgers legend Anthony Ashnault is off to Princeton. He is the latest assistant coach to be hired by Joe Dubuque. They already added Cody Brewer to that staff. So you're talking about a loaded staff for the Princeton Tigers, a team that was rebuilding last year in Dubuque's first year, but they're going to reload here for 24-25. And they added Ashnault, four-time All-American, 2019 national champion for Rutgers, the school's all-time wins leader with 123 wins to his name. He's a legend. I go back with Anthony quite a bit, dating back to his college career and obviously my college days covering the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. So I followed his career pretty much since the get-go when he got on to campus in Piscataway. Again, he's a Jersey legend, not just a Rutgers legend. He's a Jersey legend. Again, four-time undefeated New Jersey state champion at South Plainfield High School, and I went on to have the best career in Rutgers wrestling history. Him and Nick Suriano won those national titles in Pittsburgh back in 2019. Now, he was on the Rutgers staff as an assistant coach a couple of years ago, and then he opted to pivot back to a full-time wrestling career at the senior level, training at the NYC RTC, helped out at Columbia, I saw last year as well. So he got that Ivy League flair a little bit. He made another run to try to get to the Olympic trials back in April. Fell a little bit short at the last chance qualifier, but he wrestled in the Olympic trials when they were held in 2021 for the delayed Tokyo Games. So he's had some success at the senior level, a couple Pan Am golds for him as well. So very established wrestler. We know his go-to style, I would say at this point, is folk style, judging by his college career and all his success right there. So he's going to bring a lot of knowledge to that room. And again, has the freestyle success as well, so don't want to minimize that as well. So again, Princeton utilizes the NJRTC as well. When you talk about what he brings to the table from a recruiting standpoint, from a wrestling standpoint, and a training perspective, I don't think he said out loud if his competitive career is over. I'd imagine a guy like him would try to give it one more run for the 2028 cycle. He didn't announce any type of competition retirement. I only bring that up because we saw a lot of guys that were pivoting into coaching or administration roles this past cycle that retired from competition. Now, he has not said so. I'd imagine that he would give it another run for 2028 and see what he can do on the senior level moving forward. So, again, great hire by Princeton. He's a legend, and I'm sure the Rutgers-Princeton rivalry for that Big Ivy Trophy is going to be a lot more interesting this year when the series goes back to Princeton, especially. So a little weird for the Rutgers fan base to see Anthony Ashnault in an orange polo, even if it's a black polo. It's got that orange tint on it, so he's going to trade in the Scarlet Knights for the Princeton Tigers this coming year. He's going to be a head coach one day. I know that I can just tell right now, if he wants to keep pursuing coaching as his long-term career aspirations, especially once he's done wrestling, I could easily see Anthony becoming a head coach of a Division I college program down the line, whether he takes it for Princeton one day or he comes back to Rutgers and takes over, or he goes completely somewhere else. He is going to be a head coach one day if he wants to. I think he's going to be that good of a coach and recruiter and a guy who can ultimately build a program. Because he's seen it firsthand as a wrestler, bringing Rutgers to the forefront of the mainstream of college wrestling with his career and bringing that national title to the Scarlet Knights back in 2019 and putting Rutgers truly on the map, him and Nick Suriano just 5 years ago. So tip of the cap to him. Good luck to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in Princeton as well. So the final news tidbit this week was Andrew Alirez coming back to Northern Colorado, the 2023 national champion, 141 pounds, entered the transfer portal earlier this month. He was out in front of it. He was out in front of the news and said that he was weighing his options. He was going to look for the best offer for him, and that assumingly that involved NIL deals. Now, there were rumors of big schools such as Iowa, Oklahoma State, maybe some others that were in on the Andrew Alirez sweepstakes. No one came out and said anything, nor was that really reported. It was just more of a speculation. But he ultimately returns to Northern Colorado, and he comes back to the Bears for one more year, trying to run it back for one more national title in his career. I love the move. I'm glad he is staying home and supposedly he's going to be there long term in terms of training and potentially a coaching spot there. That, again, that's been speculated and thrown out there. But what we know for a fact right now, he's going back to Northern Colorado. He made a great Instagram post, by the way. So if you've not seen Wolf of Wall Street, you wouldn't understand it, but I can imagine, that movie being 10 years old at this point, that you don't know what I'm talking about. He echoed, or he literally posted a clip of Leonardo DiCaprio saying that I'm not leaving, I'm not effing leaving. That was awesome. I love the, creativity. Love it. It was awesome, and it's a good way to see, even in the era of the portal and NIL, these guys can still ultimately go back to where they were initially potentially leaving. So I like that. He's going to be the favorite at 141 pounds. I'd imagine if he bumps up to 49, he'll be one of the favorites. So he'll be in the running to win a national title here in 2025. By the time we get there in March, was that 9 months from now at this point? Can't wait to see it. Glad he's going back. We know how good he is. He went undefeated his last year. He took that Olympic red shirt this past season to try to make the Olympics. He wrestled in the trials, came up short of the spot, but he's going to be one of the most electric guys to watch this coming college wrestling season as well. So those are the news tidbits right there. Amine to Oklahoma State. He was the latest guy to join the Cowboys roster. Ashnault to Princeton. Andrew Alirez is back at Northern Colorado. I don't know what's going to happen next. There's still some big names in the portal. I'm sure we're going to wait on some more coaching news as well in the coming weeks as we approach the summer months, and then we get into the true off season and eventually back to the summer training. We get some summer updates going here on On3, and eventually we get to the preseason in the fall, and all of a sudden we're going to have another wrestling season coming up in about 6 months or so. So I'm Nick Kosko for On3 saying so long, and until next time.